Hello, my name is Sam. I'm one of the creators of Fallout Little America, and today we'd like to start a series of behind-the-scenes footage for you guys, starting with some props. But before all that, just let me say thank you for all the views, the likes, the subscribes, the shares, the comments. It means the world to us. We appreciate it. Now, with that out of the way, let's start with this. Our thumbnail. Now, these props were in fact in the trailer as well. You can see them here in the intro sequence. I guess you would call them more set dressing, considering I didn't use them to the extent which I had planned. There's also a third prop here, a rifle, which we'll show you in a second. Again, not used to the extent in which we had planned. As many of you have said, this is in fact a World War I Brodie helmet with a World War I splatter mask. Now, the helmet itself is just a cheap plastic replica. You can see the inside wasn't even painted. All we did was sand it down, paint it up a bit, distress it, stuck a knife through it to make a bullet hole, or I suppose a near miss. Then after that, all we did was sand it down. On the side here, the soldier seems to have graffitied his helmet in a Vietnam style. The words Gatineau 32 on the side. Now, what does Gatineau mean? If you haven't picked up on it by now, that means the French city of Gatineau, adjacent Ottawa. Well, some would say the same city. Now, it's misspelt. Now, that's not laziness, it's most likely shorthand or illiteracy, or more probable, just denying to use the actual French spelling, given the relationship of the English and French at the moment, or the PFC and FCP. People's Front for Canada, and the French Coalition Party. More on that later. Now, the splatter mask is just made out of EVA foam and fake leather. In real life, it would be made from a steel plate wrapped in real leather. The front would still be chainmail, as ours is here, except ours is simply a cast iron cleaning rag, which we've burned, scratched, and painted up to look more distressed. The nose was sewn on, likely by the soldier in between conflicts. Now, let's move on to this. Now, this is a prop of what's known as the Hewitt. It is essentially a Ross rifle converted into a fully automatic machine gun. Now, this was never meant to be seen up close, but we're going to show you anyways, and you can see the hot glue and the unfinished gaps and, well, chips in the paint, not to mention the pellet gun underneath it. We'll show you both sides of it so you can see how he constructed it. But as it stands, I think it still looks wonderful. He did an excellent job. Essentially, this was a prototype gun made in the 1910s. 1918, I believe, made by a Canadian gunsmith. It was meant to replace the Lewis gun, or at least compete with the Lewis gun. However, would function more as a support weapon, such as what the bar would become. Now, if you want to check out the specifics of the real rifle, I suggest you check out Forgotten Weapons. He does a brilliant job, very thorough. And while you're there, check out his other videos on Canadian weapons. You might see some of them throughout the series. Tell him we sent you. As far as the prop goes, it's essentially just foam and PVC pipe wrapped around an old pellet gun we had on hand and painted. The drum is made from an old coffee can, and the dust cover is the only part of it that's actually metal. As part of the distressing, we added the cracks in the stock and some duct tape to hold on the dust cover, and some hose clamps as a quick field repair between battles. Now, this originally comes with a little sight coming off the side here, and we didn't have that. Or rather, we didn't include it. I think at one point we did, and it was a Nuka-Cola bottle cap for the sight, but I think in the end we decided against it, or it wouldn't stay on. Now, it should be stated that just because we've shown you things from the World War I era, it doesn't mean that everything in this series is going to be from World War I. You'll have laser rifles, computers, power armor, the works. We still know it's a Fallout fan series. These just happen to be the things we built for the trailer. Now, we were going to cut it there, but that would have added up to about 5 minutes, so let's take a look at some of the stuff behind me, shall we? The only good frog is a dead frog is pretty self-explanatory. Presumably it was put there by the same guard who put the graffiti on his helmet. Below that, we have two ammo crates carrying .303 drums. Now, that would be what the Hewitt rifle shot. Now you can see here that there's two different markings, one from the PFC and one from the RBC. This is basically just a show of their relation, as due to their trade agreement, the RBC has taken to finding and producing ammunition and goods for the PFC. These were just made out of scrap wood we found lying around, I think out of a skid, actually. We just cut it up, nailed it together, and used a stencil and just stenciled on the wording. Up here we have McLaughlin Ginger Ale, which, for those of you who caught it, is just basically Canada Dry. It's the name of the original founder of Canada Dry, hence the bottle choice. We wanted something more Canadian for this. You know, they had Nuka-Cola for the original games, and then 3 loved Nuka-Cola, and 4 does too. God, you gotta get tired of the same stuff over and over again. But New Vegas had Sunset Sarsaparilla, and we wanted to do something of our own to make it feel more separate, more alive, and more different than the States, to differentiate us even more as its own existing country rather than just another state. The bottle's just an old Canada Dry bottle, I believe from the 50s. There's a different version of this bottle, but we liked the unique shape of this. We thought it would stand out better against the sarsaparilla and the Nuka-Cola bottles. We just did up some quick labels similar to the original Canada Dry, printed them off, and just taped them on the back. The good thing about movies is you don't have to do the whole thing, you only have to do what's seen on camera. Beside that is the TV. Now, that's not the original TV we were going to use. Originally, we had a TV from the 1950s. I believe this one is from the 1970s. We couldn't find the exact model, but from what we can tell, yeah, it's from the 1970s. So not quite mid-century, but it seems to have worked for what we needed it to. The one we were originally going to use shorted out. It was a 1956 RCA. This one ended up not working either, but we'll go into that in the next video when we show you how we got some of these shots. And in front of the TV, we just have some empty shells here. I stood some up so you can see them. These are just .303 shells. These are actual vintage .303 shells from the 1950s, I believe. Not that it was really needed, but, you know, authenticity and feeling, it's good to do those stuff like that. Of course, you don't see pretty much any of this in the trailer. It's very dark and very vague and very mysterious. Wasn't our original plan to make it this dark either, but again, we'll go into all that in the next video. Beside it here, we have 2 propaganda posters, I suppose you could call them. The top one is basically just a rehash of an IRA poster. We felt that it carried the same sentiments. Beside it, this one here is just a old World War II recruitment poster, which we rehashed to be for the People's Front. A similar feeling we thought would fit the world, or at least get the point across. Now, we made these 2 Nuka-Cola bottles. They were filled with some of the casings, as you can see here. That was just a result of a cleanup, and we just left it because, well, you can barely see them in the trailer anyways. These are just those glass Coca-Cola bottles we took the label off of and put some Nuka-Cola labels onto. Now, these are 2 different labels on here. We were kind of just testing it out to see which one we liked more. I don't know if we have an answer as to which one we actually do like better at this point. Probably the one in front here would be the one I choose, but next time in part 2, we'll discuss how we got some of the shots for the trailer. But until then, thank you again.